All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Taluka from Markers and Minions.
I'm Jenna. I'm a special education teacher and I work at Toluca's Kids School.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about Benchmark Advanced Unit 7. We're going to talk about the themes across the grade levels, anchor charts, and extension ideas. But before we begin, I'm curious because we film these live every few Sundays. Yeah. I'm curious to know who's watching them live and who's watching them at a later time, and then also what platform are you watching this on, because we also put this on YouTube. So please comment and let us know at the time of you're watching if it's live or not, and if you're on Facebook or YouTube. All right, so before we begin, also I want to have go over a couple announcements. The M&M Planner Shop is now live, so that means we've got the 2023-2024 planners available. These are awesome because we have 3 different covers this year and then 2 different layouts for planning, which I'm real excited about because that's been something that's been requested for years. So let me show you what this looks like. In this particular one, we have the days going vertically. So when you plan going down. And this is different from my planners in the past because they were all organized horizontally, days horizontally. Now you can choose which one you prefer. So we will link the planner shop in the comments and make sure you grab yours. They're in stock and they're shipping, so you can go ahead and start getting ready for next year.
We also have a new video series that's across all the platforms. It's videos and blog posts. It's called Building a Love of Literacy, where the focus is mostly on phonics, spelling, comprehension, and writing.
Yeah, so check that out. I'm uploading weekly videos on YouTube, and I'm trying to do my very best to use a teleprompter and not have it be like a super casual live with a bunch of ums. But I watched the first 2 and I was like, oh, cringe, because I look like a robot. But I'm getting better, so bear with me. So yeah, we have the first couple of videos and blog posts updated on there and on the website. All right, shall we jump into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
So I will start with the themes, the unit themes, or the grade level themes. So kindergarten focuses on holidays and celebrations. The essential question is, why do we celebrate people and events? First grade is past, present, and future. The essential question is, why is the past important? Second grade is investigating the past, so building on the first grade knowledge. How does understanding the past shape the future? Third grade is communities then and now. What is a community? Fourth grade is developing a nation. How do communities evolve? Fifth grade is conflicts that shaped a nation. How does conflict shape a society? And then sixth grade is achievements in ancient culture. Why do we consider certain civilizations great? So we, do we want to do the anchor chart first?
Yeah. So you didn't want to talk about any of these? What we elaborated on? We wrote it down.
I know. I'm sorry. I just thought it was not wordy. So I guess maybe if I go into kindergarten, unit 7. Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'll try and do it fast. Okay, so in Kinder, Unit 7 is about why we celebrate people and events and holidays, so that's a really fun theme. They get to read about America's history and some of the holidays that we have here, as well as who we honor, like veterans, role models, and people who make a difference. In first grade, it's about learning from the past and why looking at the past is important. Students explore how the past affects the present and the future, and they read and compare text selections about historical events and people. And then in second grade, they're learning, did I do that? No, they're learning from the past, and they examine the different ways that we learn about what happened in the past, like primary sources, using fossils, things like that. Students learn about historical figures like Helen Keller, Harriet Tubman, and Alexander Graham Bell. And then in third, the focus shifts to types of communities. You can see the anchor chart in the back, and what they all have in common. So students will study communities from Florida to Vermont and Texas to California, and they'll be exposed to different traditions, and then they'll also find some traditions that they're already familiar with. In fourth grade, it's communities, but how they change over time. with an emphasis on economy, transportation, weather. I just finished reading The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. She's a historical fiction author, and it takes place during the Dust Bowl, and I had no idea how awful that was and how that really shaped America. And then students will read and compare selections about the development of the U.S. and understand how the communities have evolved. So yeah, recommended reading for you as the teacher. That goes really well with Unit 7. Not with the kids, but for you. In 5th grade, it's about conflict with an emphasis on the wars that have shaped our nation. So students will read and compare texts about the American Revolution, the Civil War, and the military to understand how conflict shapes our society. Hamilton, anyone? You can bring in a lot of that. They even learn, I think they read a selection that talks about the code word Rochambeau. Yeah, and I love that song in Hamilton. You'll also be examining the important events of our country's history and discuss how conflict shaped our nation into what it is today. The anchor chart for 5th grade that I designed in the Plan For Me pack is one of my favorites that I've ever made. It's a good one. And then in 6th grade, it's all about ancient civilizations. So the kids will read and study about early civilizations, their importance, and how they changed over time. So that's pretty cool. It's a good unit. Before we get into projects, let's talk about charts, shall we?
Yeah.
So this is the one we have for 3rd grade. Jenna, I'm going to have to see if you can zoom us in. This is the one that I designed in the Planned For Me pack. As soon as she zooms in, my head's going to be cut off, but it's okay. This is the most important thing. More. Yeah. And we can put a picture of this also in the comments. But this is a little bit different than the one that I did in my classroom several years ago. What I did was I printed out pictures from our actual neighborhood and like our town emblem. There's another word for it. Crest, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, the symbol of our town. And I wrote like our mayor's name and the history of our town. And so I made it a little more personalized, and so that's definitely something that you can do for your own community. So in 3rd grade, we talk about the types of communities. We talked about how it can be called a town or a neighborhood and what the difference might be. And then we talked about the differences between urban neighborhoods and rural neighborhoods. We talked about the vocabulary word populated. So rural is mostly farms. It's not as heavily populated. There's more space. And then we also talked about how a community can be a team or a class within a school or even a school. So community is not just, it doesn't have to just be your neighborhood. Then we talked about history. So how community began, when it was first established, that vocabulary word right there, and how communities evolve or change over time. And then this is where you can bring in a lot of your own history. And then industry, the types of businesses a community is known for, how the community makes money, and how they create jobs for people in the community. So at the time I was teaching in a town neighborhood called Burbank in Los Angeles, California, and we were known for entertainment. So we had like Ellen DeGeneres, Jay Leno, the studios were all right there. At Disney, we were the studio industry. So we brought in a lot of photos and information about that and showed how Burbank was built on that.
I was thinking how different that would be if you did that now, like what you would focus on in Florida, like it would be totally different. Your
in our town here,
just
cattle, tractors,
fishing, close to the water.
Yeah, towards the coast. Okay, and then attractions, places or things a community is known for and what people do or see when they visit. And then many communities try to attract tourism. So we talk about tourism as well. All right, and then in the middle we have a symbol of the community. But yeah, I highly recommend replacing that so that it's more customized for your town. Okay, Jenna, let's see. Oh, wrong way. All right, that's good. Alright.
So we have now easy discussion starters if you are, just introducing it, how to get your students excited for the unit, even though I do agree, I think this is seems like a fun one. Mm-hmm. And then also extension ideas for each grade. A lot of these ideas come from the Plan For Me resource, so if you haven't check that out. I was going through it. There's anchor charts and project ideas and just pretty much all you would need to make it fun. So for kindergarten, what holidays do you celebrate? So I think this is really, I know, kids, especially now, they're from all different places. Like I'm just thinking of the demographic of our school, and there's recently a lot of students coming from India. And so that's, something that my son, who's 5, has never been really exposed to. So him learning about those things, I think it's exciting for him.
And we've already celebrated like Diwali
Yeah.
and Holi.
Right.
Holi.
Yeah. So extension ideas that I thought would be fun, create a calendar and have students make illustrations for the national holidays each month. And then that could be a discussion where you could include your students from other backgrounds, their holidays also. And then for hands-on, use clay or Play-Doh to create 3D monuments. I thought that was fun. First grade, what can we learn from the past, even just in our own classroom? So an example would be think about the very beginning of the year, what has changed. I say a lot, dang. What else has changed over time? I don't have a teleprompter. A project idea, invite a grandparent or elderly community member to speak to the class about what school was like for them. I had to walk. I don't think they had, that's probably their grandparents didn't have to walk, but our grandparents maybe had to walk. Create a class timeline on a large piece of butcher paper on a topic of interest. For example, transportation, space, or technology. Second grade, what kind of information can you learn from a journal entry? So I know this is where it starts focusing on primary sources. So how is this different from the information in a textbook? Why is it important to remember what happened in the past? Some project ideas, ancestor project, I like this one, scrapbook. The kids can include photocopies of family, a family tree, family recipe, a drawing of a flag or a world map showing where their ancestors are from. And then these, I've seen a lot of these in the prior posts, having an old-fashioned day where you dress up in the clothing and students come dressed. They write with quills. I saw one example from previous years. They wrote with, the teacher put like a feather on the pencil. Do loom weaving, make corn husk dolls, use a chalkboard, and play a colonial game. And then dinosaurs are also included in second grade. So there was some fossil digging activities that I saw. This one is making dinosaur shadow paintings, paint the dinosaur in black, and then use sunset colors to create a background. I saw those are good too. Third grade, is our community more urban or rural, and how do you know? So that's like really honing in on that vocabulary piece that they probably haven't been exposed to before. And then what is our community known for? Cows. Give a community research project. Invite students to research different aspects of their town and then create a newspaper column about it. There is a product on this on Teacher Pre Teacher, the community research newspaper project. So it has all the templates laid out for the kids, and then they can just like fill it in and create a newspaper about that.
That's on my TPT. We'll list that.
Yeah.
I forgot about that project. That's fun.
Yep. And then invite a leader from your community to come speak to the class about why they love living there. That would be cool. Or even if you can't do a leader, like the principal. I know, like our school, we have a bigger school, so the fact, just when the principal's in the room, sometimes that's like a big deal for the kids because getting around to all the classrooms takes the time. So for her to come in and like to come and talk, I think that they would be interested in that.
Our elementary school is like over 1,000 kids.
Yeah, it's the biggest school
like
in our county.
1,400 or something.
Biggest school in our county.
So a lot of kids come from different towns.
Fourth grade, discussion starters. Why do you think people move to new places? Have you ever moved? I know, especially in Florida, when they had a hurricane previously, a lot of people, you wouldn't think, but people moved because of the hurricane. They came further up north, they evacuated, and then they just never went back. They went back to get their stuff, and then they stayed. So that would have been relevant or is relevant here. If you could live anywhere else, where would you go? And then project ideas, research how the U.S. highway system works. I think this was just having the kids see this on a map, I think would be really interesting for them. How the even numbers are going east to west, and then the odd numbers go north to south.
And it's in like by tens, right? Mm-hmm. Like the 10, the 20, the 30.
Have students make their own maps. Much of the development mentioned in the readings is controversial, so if you lean into that more and research what impact the development of train tracks had on Native American tribes and wildlife, consider including a study of the lives of the minorities that were, helping with the railroad. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Fifth grade, are all conflicts the same, or are there different types or different levels of conflict? So I think, especially I'm thinking of the fifth graders that I work with, and there's a lot of conflict in their classroom, that's for sure. But I always try to say big problem, little problem. If you're not going to be worried about it in a week, we shouldn't be crying about it right now. But that's okay. Fifth grade, big emotions.
Mm-hmm. And they would say like everything's a big problem.
I know. What can we learn from conflict, and then how can we grow from it? Have students pretend to be journalists during a war. Students will either write a newspaper article or create a news segment. Oh, that would be fun. Mm-hmm. Where they interview someone about the war effects. I can just think like a teleprompter, like reporting live.
This.
Yeah,
do it with your students
for sure. If possible, have veterans come to the class and speak about their experiences. If it's not possible, I'm sure there's probably videos you can find on YouTube or somewhere, or even maybe put it out to your class itself. Does anyone have any parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents that were, with technology now, you could like FaceTime them, or have the student FaceTime them and have the parent record it. That would be, tying it into your own classroom. I think that would be cool. Mm-hmm. And then sixth grade, what can we learn from studying early civilizations? Why is that important? How they changed, how civilizations changed over time. But what are they all still having? What are some things that they still have in common? So even though we've evolved over time, there's still core things that are still the same. Mm-hmm. Blast from the Past tour, have groups of students become experts on different ancient civilizations. When it's time to present, have them transform the classroom for the day and teach about that civilization.
When I was in sixth grade, my social studies teacher broke us all up into city-states, Greek city-states, like Sparta, Athens, whatnot. And we had, for the whole unit, we had to represent that city-state. Am I saying city-state, right? I mean, this is sixth grade, it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
And we would get points, and we had to become experts on our specific assignment.
We did.
I still remember that.
I remember in fifth grade, we studied Washington, D.C., and we had to become experts on buildings in Washington, D.C. That was like, yeah.
Huh.
California and Florida, different.
Yeah.
And then an art connection could be have students recreate an ancient monument, Great Wall, the Colosseum, either as a painting or perhaps a sculpture, and put them on display and hold a gallery walk. So yeah, that would be
good art connection, huh?
Yeah. That would be when we did it like that. You had to give tours, so then you'd have to. That would be cool to have the kids walk around and then learn about each of the buildings. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That'd be neat. All right, so those are our ideas. Mm-hmm. If you have the plan, these are just a couple other things we printed out. If you have the Plan For Me pack, you'll also have the fill in the blank version of the anchor charts so that students can follow along. I also included this. I made this little. I think this was for third grade.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is like when you're researching your own community, you can make a little booklet.
Yeah, and you can put it on the wall, but then
in there.
Keep it in their notebooks if they want, or in their folder, so they have it to like look back on. But definitely, once you make it, have it up there.
Yeah. So last video for the Unit 6 video, we did we focused on second grade with the chart. This week we're talking about third. So if you would like to see your grade level,
let us know.
Yeah, drop your grade level and we'll count. We'll see who has the most. And then for Unit 8, we'll choose that anchor chart.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Have
Let
a good
us
day.
know if you have any questions. Have a good upcoming week. Bye, guys.